Welcome back. Before the break, we met one of the many Australian police officers who suffered trauma as a result of their work keeping us safe on the streets. Joining us now to talk more about the issue, please welcome Victorian Police Commissioner Graham Ashton to the House of Wellness. Welcome, Graham.
Thanks, Luke.
Great to have you. You've been Chief Commissioner of Victoria Police since 2015 and you've put mental health problems plaguing the force as a top priority, which has taken great leadership and courage for you to do that in your own right. Can you talk us through some of the trauma that officers face?
Well, wellness is a massive issue in policing. It's just across the country, police are trying to deal with the after effects of having to deal with tending trauma and supporting people who themselves have been traumatised, and that's taken its impact. So over the years in policing, it's been something that you didn't talk about, something that was swept under the carpet, and all we found was that was exacerbating harm. We needed to get the conversations, the mental health conversations, out into the open, and we need to actually start to support police who are having to do this work, both during the time that they're serving, but also when they're in police veterans after they've served as well. It's a great responsibility that we have to get on top of.
So, Graham, we as civilians see the stories on the news and they're obviously very traumatic. It's something perhaps that a lot of people don't think about is the impact on the police officers that are there. It must be huge, though. What do you see?
Yeah, it is huge, Jay, because the police are trained, when they come through the academy, they're trained to be the people that cope. And when they attend a traumatic event, it'll often be at a time that's the worst time in someone's life, the most vulnerable they are in their life when the police officer attends. They need the police officer to help them with their particular issue that they're dealing with, their particular emergency. So for the police, they're being the person that can cope, the person that can support them. They're part of that sort of a traumatic event in a way, and then the police officer will leave that event and they'll go to the next event, which again is of a similar nature, and they're doing that all the time. So there's a cumulative impact to doing that work when you are always the person that has to cope. And so when you yourself are struggling, it's difficult to speak up and ask for help.
Graham, was there a particular moment that made you aware that there was some mental health issues with some police?
Well, I've been in policing for nearly 40 years, and all through that time I've seen the impacts of mental health on policing and wellness generally. I've had close friends in the police that have taken their own life. And, I've reflected often on that, as I'm sure many police have. You wouldn't find any police that would have worked for any length of time that wouldn't be close to someone that's, actually found they've situation's been so bad that they've had to take their own life. So it's something that's ever present, and as someone that goes to all of those funerals, you see the effect on families as well. So
part of an officer's training must be to not show emotion to an extent. How hard does that make it then for them to open up? Very
culturally difficult. You know, that policing culture is a coping culture. So we've had to actually change the culture and change the conversation to make sure that wellness is brought out as an open conversation. But as part of that, particularly for our police leaders, to make sure that they're literate in mental health as well. So they ask the right questions and they're attuned to when to ask those questions. That's really important.
Graham, you've also specifically been talking about retired police officers and their needs going beyond working in the force. Have they been left behind in some way?
Really, they have, Darcy, over the years, definitely. There's an old saying in police, once you're an ex, you're an ex. You go out the door and the support stops, the comradeship stops. We've got to turn that around because a lot of people have left policing in order to try and deal with issues that they're trying to cope with. And when they leave, they're suddenly in an unsupported environment. So we've had to really rethink how we're going to be supporting police veterans. And so we've been able, over a particularly recent time, to do more of that, and we need to do much more of it.
There is now, it's great that there's the focus and support. Tell us what you are doing in the space for veterans. Well,
on police veterans, we've created, just to backtrack a little, a year ago we did a walk across the state to raise awareness for police veterans and to raise money to support police veterans, and we raised a good sum of money, both with the Police Association and myself. In fact, we each walked 500 kilometres across the state. And to raise that awareness, we got to talk to a lot of police veterans on that path, a lot of whom are dealing with wellness, dealing with mental illness issues. And we've been able to use that money to establish Police Veteran Support Victoria, a brand new organisation with dedicated resources to work with police veterans.
It was close to what, $500,000. It's an incredible feat. How
it
are the
was over
calf muscles after that, mate?
I had a few blisters, probably nothing like Darcy's had to deal with over the years, but...
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah,
Forget about Darcy.
It all comes back to me.
And I believe that Chemist Warehouse have come on board as support through the Veterans Benefit Card.
Yes, as part of establishing Police Veterans Support Victoria, we've actually established a veterans card. And so we want police veterans to get this card as not only acknowledgement of their service, but it's got benefits attached to it. And we're very grateful that Chemist Warehouse were the first corporate supporter to come on board, and they're offering discounts to holders of the card. And pvsv.org.au is the website for police to register for that card, and couldn't happen without Chemist Warehouse, and they've been great partners in the card, absolutely.
Yeah, as Graham said, for more information and to find out how you can help, go to retiredpeersupport.com.au. Commissioner Graham Ashton, you've been a great leader, a great champion in this space. Thanks for joining us today on the House of Wellness.
Thanks, Luke.